says it's live on Facebook.
Do you see it?
I do.
That's great.
I need to be on my best behavior now.
I can't manage that. So whoever is there, Alicia, and if you want to be the folks to be, on Facebook to let us know what folks are saying or chiming in, that'd be fantastic. We can also use the chat, everybody. I believe that, I'm not sure if Facebook is to see our chat or not. Hey, Anna, how you doing? How was your bicycle ride today? Or you're in the shop? You're in the shop today.
I was wrenching.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be starting off today with Kelly Koller, and we'll kick it off at 4:00, and then Anna will go to you, and then Jennifer should be hopping on just a little afterwards. So we'll play a little game here a couple of times. We have a couple of games and interactive, so hopefully people will be able to join into that. Thank you to our guests that RSVP to be on the Zoom. Hopefully they are able to get in as well. Shout out to Carrie and to Gianna and to let's see, who is that? Is Doug. Yes. Doug is our I'm going to say, Doug, I appreciate that you signed up. 2012 GTF here. Carrie is a 2018. Shout out. Nice to see you all. This is fabulous. And, it's just great to see our Grosvenor Teacher Fellows getting together for an evening, Friday evening, and, shooting the you-know-what. So this is teachers getting together after school. And hopefully, sorry, Facebook fam, we're going to do a little Teachers After Dark once we finish our interviews here. So the people on Zoom, you'll be able to continue hanging out with us. But for the beginning, we'll do some interviews, play some games. And if anybody has any additional questions they'd like to ask our guests after the conclusion of their interviews, more than welcome in the chat, okay? Or come on mic. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. Kelly, we're gonna go ahead and kick it off with you. It is 4:00, 4:01. Let's just say, how's everybody doing? Alicia, check in with us. Carrie, check in with us. Doug, what you got? What you got? Stacy, what year were you? I forgot to look that up.
19.
Miss
Alicia.
All right, sweet. And we have, let's see, Julie coming in and Thomas. So we got some folks. We got Thomas is 2014. Julie is, I believe, 2021. What? All right. Hey now. So happy to see you all here and just glad to gather, right? All right. So let's kick it off with Kelly. Kelly, we're going to talk about your brainchild and your experience. But before we do that, please tell us this, just to kick it off. If you could be any spirit animal, what spirit animal would you be?
I have to say a fox. Because I worked at an environmental charter school and it was Fox River Academy, so fox was kind of our thing, and I just loved that school, and so it made me fall in love with foxes. And actually have a secret desire to someday touch a baby fox in some way, shape, or form. They're so cute. Yes. So that's one of my secrets. Baby fox.
You can officially say you know what the fox is.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. All right, cool spirit animal. So Kelly, tell us, what is your GTF year? What grade level do you teach? Where are you located in the United States or Canada? Even though I know you're in the United States, but go ahead and give us a little rundown of that.
All right, so I'm a 2018 GTF who went to the High Arctic, Nunavut and Western Greenland and Iceland. And I currently teach 3rd and 4th grade for remote learners, but also I do have a couple classes of GT high ability learners at another elementary too. So just to give you guys a little snapshot of my world. So today I did a remote learning class, and then I taught a Friday field studies for an optional field activity for those remote learners. And then I went to my face-to-face school to teach the special leadership class for those students. It was like just a mismatch of everything but wonderful. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But previously I taught middle school and high school. So the only grade I have not taught is 5th grade.
Wow. Wow. Now that's an amazing feat for an educator, because usually we kind of stick with our grade levels and we don't venture out. I mean, the elementary school levels, yes, but that is amazing, Kelly. Seriously. So you've been in the game of education for how many years now?
Something around 15. Feel like I've been saying 15 years for the past, 5 years. So something around 15.
Something around there. Well, I really want to talk about the brainchild that you created, this explorer mindset, empowering learning through a different perspective, really, and looking at mindsets and how powerful they are, and going beyond just the learning aspect of, going outside, learning how to participate in our communities, but truly experiencing and documenting this opportunity and reflecting on it to make the change. Do you want to give us a little bit of background, and perhaps even, this would be a good time to perhaps share your screen for us to be able to see this application? I think it's a great tool for students and educators.
Thanks. Sure. So yeah, it all started actually kind of around the time in 2018, when I started my GTF journey. I had jumped on the certification process when it was kind of in its beta version, and I think 2014-15. And then when I became a GTF, I was still really interested in the learning framework, as are so many of us, and floated this idea to Megan Modafferi and I think JT at the time, who were the contacts for the Grosvenor Fellows, and thought like my idea was really for Nat Geo. I was kind of like, hey, it would be really cool if kids could be able to take that learning framework and kind of hack it, make it their own. If there was some kind of like website, where students could like access it, but then reflect on it and, truly, make it theirs by applying it to their place and their situation. And Megan said, great idea. That's a great idea for a grant. So we don't have the capacity to do that. This is before I knew, kind of what the small but mighty team that Nat Geo Education is. So I thought I was just kind of throwing an idea out for, hey, you guys could do this. And she was like, hey, you could apply for a grant. And so that really empowered me to think about like, oh, this is something maybe I could do. So I applied for a grant to do that, to make a website so students could basically hack the learning framework. And that was Grant Project 1, and did that project, and then wanted to take that idea further, of course. Right. And I thought, why stop at making, having students reflect on their mindset? We want them to apply that then, and then connect how I took that mindset, I explored something, and then reflect on it. Right. So that's the current grant project. So I'll share my screen and I'll show you guys where it's at with this app to allow students to actually do the whole mindset part where they reflect on the learning framework, but then actually conduct an exploration and reflect on it. So I got to put my cheaters on here. There we go. Okay. So this is just kind of how I communicate. So I am not the coder behind this. I do the graphic design, because actually one of the hats that I used to wear was a high school graphic arts teacher, and I taught high school metal shop and wood shop. I was a technology and engineering teacher. Oh, yeah. So I've done the graphics for this, but we have a consultant on the team who has done all of the heavy lifting with the coding. So I venture into coding a little bit and sometimes mess things up, but he's the one who really makes this all happen. So we have a login page. And so here's the landing page on the app where students will, the mindset menu is where students will do the whole thing that already exists on the website, reflect on that learning framework, make it their own. And what I'm super excited about is that there's actually some ways to practice their mindset. So mindfulness exercises. There will not be a cute little bunny pictured. This is just a screenshot of an existing app that I really like for elementary students called Ninja Focus, where they do mindfulness exercises. But these will be activities where students will do an exercise in creativity. So it will just be a narration, an audio clip that leads students through an exercise in curiosity, in responsibility, in empowerment, in observation. Some of those attitudes and skills in the learning framework that's good to revisit, and actually really healthy for kids to help build themselves up as learners and feel more empowered in the process of learning. So practice will be a menu where students can revisit. And then the Learn tab is for videos, like some that are already existing, where students learn what is curiosity, what is responsibility and empowerment, etc. And then the create part is what kind of already exists on the website, where students can literally describe what an explorer mindset is to them, and what curiosity is to them as a teacher. And I really love that Alicia gave this feedback as well, that it's a great assessment for how students have, like if you teach explorer mindset, if you teach about the learning framework, this is a great assessment to see, well, what did they absorb? How do they feel about it?
Right. How do they think of themselves even, right?
Exactly, yeah. So then they can, through the app, but also on the website, like view what they've created. And then this is also already existing, but they can take that then and plan an exploration. And what punches out to them is kind of a graphic organizer that has what they want to explore in the middle. And then it has curiosity, responsibility, and empowerment, observation, communication, collaboration, and problem solving. So it has all of the learning framework centering around this topic that they want to explore. So they think about, look, okay, what questions am I going to ask? Yeah. How am I going to use this to cultivate responsibility? What am I going to take action on? And so that would be the empowerment part. What kind of data am I going to collect? The response or the observation part. So they think through and see through this topic like an application of an exploration.
Right. That is
so. Then the Explore tab. So kind of going back to the main menu here, the Explore tab and the Analyze tab are so new. I don't have any screenshots of, because we're literally at this spot right now. So it's kind of fun that it's in that spot of the unknown. We are using Sifter. If you've ever used that app as kind of an idea or a structure where basically you tie a picture and a description to a map. Mm-hmm. So students this will be a mapping exercise where students ideally would be in their community or in their schoolyard, tying a picture and a description to a map. So they're conducting their exploration, but we also want it to be open enough where a student could explore someplace that they don't live, someplace in another country. So they're tying pictures and a description to other locations on a map. Right. And then at the end, the Analyze part will be just a simple reflection on the whole process. What did it mean to them? How did looking at themselves as an explorer help them feel more empowered in learning? How did it help them feel engaged and interested and take ownership? So it'll be more of a reflection on the explorer mindset than on the nuts and bolts of what you learned from the exploration. So it's really focused more so on the mindset than an academic standard of any kind. But the intention, the hope, is that this could be used for geo-inquiry as kind of a way to document part of a geo-inquiry process. Mm-hmm. And certainly the number one way, of course, is to help. My goal, what fuels me, is to help students feel more empowered and give them a tool to do that. So that's the number one goal.
Awesome. That is fantastic, Kelly. I have been, perusing through ever since when you posted it on Facebook, on our page, checking it out, signing in myself, and it is really a great tool for students to be able to explore not only their own community, but somewhere else around the world, and maybe make comparisons, between those things. So I really think that this is a great opportunity. Do you want to share maybe the website or the link of where I put it in the chat already? But ladies and gentlemen who are listening on Facebook Live right now, Kelly did post this a few days, well, a little while ago. You can actually, maybe if you want to put it in the chat, Kelly, your tags and where you, where you're located, or what your Instagram is, not where you're located specifically, but your Facebook, your Instagram, where they can follow you in order to find out more information. Thank you so much, Kelly. This was great. You actually covered like the remainder. You're very thorough. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right.
I just keep talking. Sorry.
No, that's the way the teachers do it, right? As teachers, we get into a vibe and we just go there. I want to just thank you again. I'm going to go ahead and do the virtual clapping here for Kelly. Thank you for your presentation, and we appreciate your efforts and your contribution to our classrooms, really, right? Because that's what you are helping to do, and we thank you for that. All right, so next, let's take a little shout out moment here. I think we have somebody, Doug, that's beating you on the GTF number here. I believe we have a 2008 in the house, Annie Evans. How are you, Annie? Give us a little shout out there. I know your screen is off, but you can say hey.
Sorry, I keep getting that connection unstable message, so I didn't want to get kicked out. So I was thinking if I turn the camera off, I might. But can y'all hear and see me okay?
Oh yeah. Oh yes, we
Okay,
can.
great.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, Doug. I haven't seen Doug in a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might be the grandma in here in terms of, because I was only in the second year.
Oh.
There were two. So when we first started, there were two people the first year, and there were only two of us the second year.
Yep.
And I don't know if you guys know this story, but all of Virginia GTFs do. So my trip was to the Indian Ocean.
Oh, wow.
And it was for a month.
Mm.
And the last week of our trip was when Captain Phillips and his crew were kidnapped.
Wow.
And so my family had my itinerary and they were watching the news.
What a story.
They were freaking out because according to the itinerary, we were like less than 200 miles from where that happened, which was true.
Wow.
And we didn't know what was happening.
Wow.
All we knew was we woke up the next morning and in the middle of the night, National Geographic and Lindblad had airlifted these like paramilitary troops onto the deck of the boat.
Wow.
The entire top deck of the boat had these men with machine guns guarding us.
Interesting, Annie.
And the crew was greasing the sides of the ship with Crisco so that the people couldn't rappel up the sides.
Oh my.
It was like a movie. So I've never seen the Tom Hanks movie because I just don't even want to watch it.
It sounds like it. My good. Well, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Nice to be here.
Yeah. And then also shout out to Ariel. Thank you, from National Geographic here as well. She is there she is waving to us. Hello. Thank you for joining us as well today. All right. So we're going to head on to our next, Ariel, if you wanted to say anything, let me know. I know that you were like the silent cartographer kind of thing or whatever, I guess you
over here. You're all doing great. I love hearing these stories. Thank you all so much for coming. Yeah. And Kelly, thanks for being our trusty host.
Oh, no problem. No problem. All right. We're going to slide on over to two boxes for me. It's like the Brady Bunch in here. I could do like this and down and whatnot, but we're going to go over to Anna. And Anna Antoniou is an archaeologist and anthropologist. Am I getting that right, Anna? I think I'm there. And so, Anna and I, I've had the opportunity to work with Anna with the Eco Blitz. And so Anna, you want to just give us, first, remember, we got to start out with the spirit animal. What would your spirit animal be if you could be any animal? What would that be and why?
Okay. Yeah.
maybe a little basic, but I really think I would be a cat.
All right.
I
There-
love naps.
there it is.
I love cuddling until I don't like cuddling. I just think they're great. I like being outdoors, but I also like being cozy, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I get it. Yeah. And so, Anna, when did you become a National Geographic explorer?
Oh, 2016,
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
is when I got my grant. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And so you work as an anthropologist and archaeologist. And one of the best things that I know about you is that you have a passion for trash. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. This is kind of my shtick with EcoBlitz, but I love it. And it is true. I have a passion for trash. And that the reason why I love trash is because I'm an archaeologist.
Okay.
And archaeologists essentially study the people who came before us through the things that they left behind. And 90% of what people left behind is trash. So when you think of archaeology, you might think of Indiana Jones and elaborate temples or palaces or whatever. And that's true. That is part of archaeology. But most people who live their lives today and thousands of years ago left behind trash and not much else. And so that's what I study, both ancient and I like to think about modern trash as well.
So what's the most interesting piece of trash that you've ever uncovered?
That's a good question. I think maybe the coolest piece of trash that I found was a giant pebble. I don't know. It was about 20 pounds, but it was of nephrite, which is a type of jade.
Wow.
And I found it so I work with Indigenous communities in North America. This was in Canada, and I was excavating a house from the 1800s and found this it's basically raw material. So somebody had found this big pebble of nephrite, of jade, more or less, had curated it, had brought it home, had taken one chip out of it just to see if it was good material to use to make a tool, and then either forgot about it or moved on with their lives or whatever. And there it was.
So what's the difference between the trash of old and the trash of new?
Oh, okay. Well, the primary thing is we are making so much trash. I mean, the quantity it's unspeakable, right? I mean, the biggest, if you think of what is a monument is something that humans made, right? Some big construction that humans made. The biggest monuments that exist in the world today, past and present, are landfills.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're the size of cities.
Yes.
Right? So that's the biggest difference. And then, oddly enough, I study ancient trash, but technically everything that I study is biodegradable. Mm-hmm. It just hasn't degraded yet. So I mostly study shells and fish bones and other cooking trash. Okay. So, given enough time, this stuff, or the right environment, this stuff would biodegrade, right? It's all natural. They didn't have plastic back then. But the stuff that we're making, both because of the materials and the quantity that we're making, it's not going to go away anytime soon.
So how does that tie in with the EcoBlitz project that we've been working on?
Yeah. So just to briefly describe EcoBlitz, EcoBlitz is a project, citizen science kind of classroom project where a group of us Nat Geo people got together and developed this project where we want classrooms to go out and better understand how we are in fact affecting our environment through our behavior as humans. So there's two parts. The first part is looking at animal and plant diversity like a biologist would. So like BioBlitz, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, like a BioBlitz. But the second part is a trash blitz. It's understanding the trash that we have in our environments and how the two are interacting. So, but with EcoBlitz, we try to go a little bit beyond just we have 20 pieces of trash and think about, okay, what is the human behavior that causes this trash? What does this trash say about us? You know, how is this trash our legacy? Just like an archaeologist would go look at ancient trash and try to figure out what these people were doing in the past. So one of the things that I always want to tell students after I explain that I look at ancient trash and that I am drawing these conclusions about societies in the past through this, what does your trash say about you? What are future archaeologists going to think of us in the future?
Very true. Very good point, because I think some of my students' trash, they would see, of course, their ancestors would see hot Cheeto bags or something like that, right? So we just have to be aware of that. And I think one of the most valuable things from the project that we have seen, or that we've looked at, is the students' ability to observe their amount of trash that is produced over time. I think that's very important for younger generations to be able to identify with, because they're out there actually picking up the trash, right? That's part of the eco blitz, is they are actually out there picking up garbage and evaluating it, because we have them organize it, and you show them this little plot or your, how you have your grid, I guess, on the ground, very detailed, and how important is it to be organized when you pick up trash?
Yeah, I mean, for me as an archaeologist, because it's not just cleanup, it's exploration, right? It's trying to understand the behavior that came with it. So, I mean, I can get really nerdy with it, but as an archaeologist, you're trained to document everything. And as an archaeologist, you know that you are essentially destroying the record you're studying. So it's really important to document it. So I like to try to, it may feel silly, but I like to try to kind of encourage that and teach the students these skills that are in many ways applicable across all sciences.
Right.
Right, their documentation skills, their observation skills.
That's right. It's very important. Those are very important. I think even so in combination, like Kelly, your app, and then the Eco Blitz with Anna, I mean, those two things are very, very cool together, even now that I think of it. We use Marine Debris Tracker for a lot of our stuff, iNaturalist. And so a lot of these applications are very helpful when it comes to getting our students motivated. Thank you so much, Anna, for your conversation today and chatting with us. We appreciate your participation in our, teacher educator FridayFurtherX exchange. And so we're going to give you your virtual claps out loud. And thank you. All right. So next up we have, and after this, we're going to play a little bit of a trivia game here. And so let me go ahead and bring up our next guest. She is here, I believe. I think I see her name in here. We have Jennifer W. Lopez, and Jennifer works with Astrobiotic, works with NASA, works with a variety of different space organizations. And so we're happy to have her here with us as well, especially since we have, this really cool thing that just happened in space. And so just want to give a shout out to Jennifer for also, you just received an award, right? The Peregrine Award for Individual Excellence from Astrobotic Technology. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So to begin, though, of course, I do have to ask, this is the same question everybody gets. What is your spirit animal and why?
Well, I actually just, and hi, everybody. Nice to meet you all virtually. And thank you, Kelly, for having me and sort of crash the party here. I actually jumped on right when I was when you were asking the question before.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was like, what am I going to say? What is my spirit animal? Because
Right.
there's so many animals that I love, and and that I still would love to be able to go out and travel to see. And I was actually just talking about a couple of friends are doing some work in Antarctica, and that's one of my dreams, to be able to go down there and see, of course, all of the animal life in Antarctica, penguins, of course. So initially I was thinking penguins, and then I was thinking zebras. I love zebras. I think that's something that from a spirit animal perspective, just because of their uniqueness, and there's not one necessarily like the other. They're all, very, very different in terms of their with their stripes. But then I'll mention recently, this is going to be might be a little silly, but I discovered this amazing dog just going through this whole process with all of our experiences right now is what we're having with the current situation we're in and the pandemic. And I happened to come across this account on social media, specifically on Instagram. And so I'll mention the Instagram handle. It's called Pooch or Pooch of NYC or Pooch NYC. And I would have to say that would be my spirit animal, just because he is absolutely amazing.
Oh my God.
So funny, and just, it's amazing that I always look to some accounts like that when I, want to have a smile for the day or a quick laugh.
A nice laugh is always good, right?
Yes, exactly.
My friend sends me some animal, dog stuff, cat stuff that just is hilarious. Recently saw one. I don't know if anybody's seen this one. I just have to mention it because you said it, Jennifer. This cat with cucumbers over his eyes, and he's at the spa.
Yes, I saw this.
A
friend of mine forwarded that to me. It was hilarious when they were having a little spa day. Or
right. I was like, this cat literally was telling this woman, "No, stop it! Don't touch me." Hilarious. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. That's great. That is great.
Yes.
So
I
we're
would
gonna
have to say yes. He's probably my spirit animal, at least for now.
so Pooch, New York, Pooch NYC. That's cute.
Exactly.
So Jennifer, where are you located, and when did you become a Nat Geo explorer?
Yes. So I'm currently based in New York. I say currently because with the recent work with my team, the company that Kelly was just mentioning, Astrobotic, we're based, our headquarters, our learner logistics headquarters officially is what it's called. It's based in Pittsburgh. So pre-pandemic, I was sort of co-located between Pittsburgh and New York, but my home base has been New York for more than a decade. And then originally I actually come from Texas. So I'm from San Antonio and Austin, and then came to New York after that. So.
Okay. Cool.
And then in terms of when I became a National Geographic Explorer, that was in 2017. So not too long ago, but yeah.
And that's when I first met you. Actually, was back in
the
Explorers Festival.
Exactly. I was trying to think if you were. I'm assuming you're most likely speaking or participating in some way that year. I think that was when I got to meet you and a lot of amazing. Of some of our other fellow explorers. So
we had a lot of fun that year at the Explorers Festival. So are we heading back to the moon, Jennifer? What can you tell us about that?
Yes, we definitely are. We're heading back to the moon, and so exciting to see all of the amazing work that's happening in space, or what we like to call this new era of space exploration. No longer are we now looking to only government agencies or some of the big space agencies to dominate all of the amazing activities, science and research in space. Now we're seeing a lot more, and I'm sure all of you have seen some of the recent announcements and missions and activities happening in the commercial space sector. So, and that's from anything from SpaceX to Blue Origin to companies like Astrobotic, like ours. And so it's really exciting to see the commercial space activities happening. That's really opening the door for new players to be able to participate. And then also to see the interest to go back to the moon. At least from the US perspective, we haven't been, we've been to the moon from an orbiting standpoint. There's a number of orbiters that are circling the moon, gathering imagery and data every day. But the last time that the U.S. has actually physically landed on the surface of the moon or had boots on the ground was in 1972, which was with the Apollo 17. And so our mission is actually launching later this year. So Astrobotic, I'll just briefly mention, we're a 14-year-old, I said lunar logistics. So we're a lunar logistics and space robotics company. And our mission and our vision is to make space and to make the moon accessible to the world. So we're essentially pioneering moon delivery. And since our inception, about 14 years ago, we've been able to secure over 50 contracts with NASA. So working with NASA very closely, there's a program that NASA developed a few years ago called the Commercial Lunar Payload Services Program, or CLIPS for short, another fun NASA acronym. And I mentioned that program because that is also, when you ask the question, are we going back to the moon? That is a great example of a program that's allowing new players and allowing more participants to be able to champion these deep space missions, like going back to the moon to start, and then see how we could plant the foundation and serve as a precursor or the tip of the spear for more deep space missions going not just to the moon and trying to establish more of a sustainable long-term presence there, but then also see how we could take further steps beyond. And like with Mars, as we're seeing with some of the recent missions with Mars 2020 Perseverance. And so what's exciting about Astrobotic, as I mentioned, we've secured over 50 contracts with NASA. The reason why that's also really, it's a big milestone is because a lot of these contracts, and especially one of the recent missions that we secured with NASA, we went up against the big players. We went up against SpaceX, Lockheed Martin, Blue Origin, Boeing, and others. And we were the ones that were able to win against these companies for a particular mission, which is launching in 2023. And then I'll go back to the mission that we have coming later this year. Yeah. But in 2023, we were selected to deliver NASA's first ever lunar rover, a robotic lunar rover, to the surface of the moon, specifically the South Pole of the moon in 2023, which is really exciting. And so we're going to use that rover to see how we could prospect for water ice, the subsurface of the moon, to learn more information and conduct a number of demonstrations with different science instrumentation, and then, like I said, to see how we could use those findings and that data to then supply what we need for future crewed missions to take the first woman and the next man to the moon hopefully in the next few years, and to establish more of a presence there, which is pretty, sorry?
I said, that's close.
Yes, it's right around the corner, exactly, which is really exciting. And speaking of that, that's what I was saying, we have our first mission coming up later this year in Q4 of 2021. And that's what is called our Peregrine Mission 1. It's our inaugural payload, inaugural mission to an equatorial site on the surface of the moon. So not one of the poles, but one of the what we call mid-latitude sites. And it's named after peregrine because, peregrine, if you have any bird experts here, but peregrine is one of the fastest. Oh yeah, good.
200
one of the fastest
miles an hour. It is
exactly. I actually got to hold a peregrine last year before the pandemic. I went to the National Aviary in Pittsburgh and got to visit with a number of different birds. But that's one of the things that we saw as an inspiration for us, to name it after peregrine, and so we're trying to keep that theme across all of our spacecraft. But what's really exciting, I'll quickly mention this. What's really exciting about this first mission is that not only are we going to be the first U.S. mission to go back to the surface of the moon since the Apollo era, and like I said, specifically since 1972, but we're also going to be the first commercially driven mission to go to any planetary body in the history of space exploration. And that is also very exciting, that we have those, the ability to have this history-making flight. And then not only are we delivering about 16 to 18 different NASA payloads, So those are a mix of robotics, science instruments, spectrometers, and a number of different tech demonstrations. And then in addition to that, we have over 6 nations participating, from Nepal to Canada, UK, Mexico, Japan, Italy. And these are countries that never would have thought that they would have had an opportunity to be able to participate in something like this before. There were just no opportunities available like this. Exactly. And so with Mexico, for example, it's being driven by the government, by a number of universities there, or a consortium. And so it's just really exciting to be able to to be part of that story and to help to bring others into with these opportunities and to help fulfill their dreams of being able to launch into space and to go to the moon. So very exciting.
That is fabulous. It's really bringing together a variety of people instead of just making it just only singular country, but to be able to collaborate with others, because there's so many great ideas out there, right? It's like how we do in education. So you mentioned you did mention Mars. That was an exciting day, I know, for you and for
yes, I was very emotional and cried.
I watched it live.
You don't think you'd cry about a? Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, my student.
Did anybody else watch it?
Did you all watch it live? Anybody? Hand raise. Use your participant icons. Yeah, so it was exciting, and I appreciated your videos too that you posted on Instagram. I'm gonna put Anna. I'm gonna put your Instagram on there, and Jennifer, I'm gonna put your Instagram on there as soon as we finish.
Yeah, perfect.
Talking. But just an amazing accomplishment across the board for right.
That's the thing that I think that people we forget is all of the work. You'll see if you go to my Instagram, the picture there's a video that I posted of the team in mission control when they declared touchdown. But then the second picture that I put in there after, if you swipe to the right, is a photo of the team. And it's unfortunate because it kind of got cut off a little bit, but of the photo, but there's just so many people, and that's just at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory at NASA. There's so many people that are involved in this one mission, thousands of people from around the world that all contributed over the course of, or the span of, more than 7-8 years. And so it's just, it's amazing, all of the work that went into it and research and all the steps that were taken to get to that point. And then, then the fun happens where you can actually then start to conduct the exciting science on the surface and see how we can start to, the next steps that we're going to be looking for are the helicopter. That's going to be the first ever helicopter payload to be able to see if it'll operate successfully on the surface of any planet, and then to start to go through the initial steps for potential sample return. And that's also very exciting.
That's the part that I'm wondering about. I'm like, well, how are they going
to do that? Yeah, so one of my friends is actually the main PI who developed the drill and the sample, I guess the concept of operations, for the return of those samples. So I think initially what they're going to do is to have the drill, they're going to prospect, essentially drill through the surface, collect the samples, have them essentially just stay on the surface in these tubes, almost like test tubes, and then eventually try to go pick them back up and then launch them back to Earth.
I feel like it's going to work because the whole thing, the helicopter was fantastic to see, and I was like, this is on point. Seriously, I was impressed. So thank you.
That's amazing.
So thank
Absolutely.
you. Yeah, thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming and joining us today and telling us a little bit about space and what's happening out in space and the preparation that's happening here on Earth for where we are in space, right? I guess we can say it that way. So
exactly.
give you our virtual hand clap here for you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And so we're going to we're going to do a little game playing here. We have some swag to be able to provide to folks. And so for your participation. All right, so I'm just gonna ask this first question here. Who can list, and in the chat, this is for the people who are online with us on Zoom right now. Can you list the spirit animals of our guests today? Who can do that first? And then you're going to have to make sure we get in touch with each other so that we can get, oh my goodness, we got, that was fast. Gianna, is it Gianna? Did I say it correctly? Gina, sorry, Gina. Where are you, Gina? I'm looking for you on my screen. There's so many little boxes. There you are, down there. Gina, are you there? Can you come on? There you are. Okay, good. I'm glad you're there. All right, so I think I have your email address already. Let me make sure though. I do. And so I will be contacting you in relation to our first game. Okay, so that's our first game. Gina is a 2016 GTF, and I hope I said the name correctly. Please let me know if I did not. And so I'll be in touch with you in relation to that first prize. So here's the second game. This is going to take a little bit of time, just a little, not too much, but just enough time. Okay. There's some instructions that comes with this, and our explorers can also help us out with this as well. Our educator explorers, go ahead and play the game if you wish. This is called The Bird's Call. Okay. So I'm going to provide you with a link to a particular type of bird, okay? And you're going to have to do a few things. So this link I'll put in the chat, and the instructions will also be there along with the link. Hold on, I got some folks making their way in here. And so the instructions will be down below, but I'm going to read them to you first before I hit enter, because that's just kind of, a free-for-all, right? And we don't want to do a free-for-all. So here are the instructions before I submit this link. You're going to listen to the bird's call, okay? And your job will be to recreate the call using your voice, all right? Closely examine both the tone, rhythm, and detail, okay? Name 3 preferred foods also of this particular bird, all right? So here is your link, and let's see how fast, and here's your instructions, we can get some folks to give us some bird calls. And we'll see who has the best bird call. Myself, Ariel, Alicia, and Anne will be the judges of the bird calls. And if you all want to listen to the bird call, Alicia and Ariel and Anne, just to make sure you have a good ear for that bird, please do, tune in. So go ahead, listen to the bird call. I'll close my mouth. And don't forget the 3 foods. This is a tough moment here. I'm doing my host duties of, making sure that the talking still happens, but our educator explorers and explorers are out in the wild and they're learning things. Maybe you could do this with your students as well, people who out on the Facebook Live folks chiming in. But I'm trying to be quiet, just like you would if you were to go and look for birds in the wild, right? That bird does have some pipes. It's a cool bird. Let's see how well somebody can come in and get it. Whoever comes on first and tells me those 3 things. Who thinks?
Okay.
Who thinks?
Julie.
Stacy's going. Go ahead, Stacy. Little interesting. All right.
And
Give
they
us those 3
eat
foods.
things like millipedes, bugs, ticks, invertebrates.
Good. All right. That was a pretty good bird call there. Julie, you want to see if you can windpipe it better?
Okay, we'll try here.
Okay.
Wow, that's good.
That's a good call.
And they eat mayflies, caddisflies, stoneflies.
All right. That's a pretty good call. Do we have any other volunteers who want to try a hand at the American pipit? By the way, I am I like to be referred to sometimes in my family as the bird whisperer. So I love listening to birds. All right, let's see here. This is a good one for our students too, y'all, if you want to play this one with the kiddos. Okay, so we only had two, Stacy or Julie. Who's it gonna be? Let's see, Alicia, Ariel, and Annie. Anne, who do you think? And maybe our explorers, if you wanna, since you guys are out there listening too, Kelly, Anna, Jennifer, any ideas who's gonna get it? Or should we just go with both? All right. I think we can go with both. Let's see, but Stacy +1 for going first. Okay, cool deal. All right, she gets the bonus for that. All right, so Stacy and Julie, let me make sure that I have, Stacy, I have your email address. Julie, I don't think I have yours, and it's Stacy Snyder, yes? Yeah, Stacy Snyder. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. Julie, if you want to include, let me make sure. Oh no, Julie, I have yours. sd.us. I do have it. Yes, I do. Okay. Julie Olson. All right. Nice job, you two. Thank you very much for participating in our American Pipit exploration. A very cool activity to be able to do with your students, and see, that'll get them on the screen too, because sometimes we're having that trouble these days. Hopefully you'll be able to tune in with us, next time, so that we can play some more games, because we love to play the games, and you will receive some swag, for your participation. So thank you very much, Julie and Stacy, and to Gina, right? That was Gina also. Gina, for your participation in getting those spirit animals. My personal spirit animal is the dolphin, because I can do the call,
Uh-oh, you're gonna have to do it now.
Right? So you gotta have you gotta feel the spirit of the animal. Anyway, you guys, this was great. It was great to see everybody. We appreciate our guests, Kelly Koller, Antoniou, Jennifer W. Lopez, and thank you so much for all of our guests here today. Thank you to everybody, Annie, Doug, Gabriel, Gina, Jenny, Julie, Kathleen, Kathy, Carrie, Kim, Sarah, Sonia, Stacy, and Thomas. All right, I think I got everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Facebook Live. Facebook Live, we're gonna go off the air with you all, but we thank you for your participation. Tune in first Fridays for FridayFurtherX. It's the exchange. It's the place where teachers can get together with educators, with explorers, and connect and gather some interesting information and ideas to help our students jump back into learning in the outside world, right? All right, so Facebook Live, thank you so much. Have a good evening, Facebook Live.